Hello and welcome back to AAA Wargaming. I'm sorry for the long break. There's been a couple of things happening, but I've recently just been to the Cardiff this weekend, and people were asking, so I thought I'd get one out very quickly. This is going to be the battle report number 4 of the team tournament. So Spikey's extravaganza foray into the world of team tournaments, complete amateurs. This is the Sunday morning, and I do remember waking up. It's been a while, but if you remember, I played 2 of my 3 games. First against Craig Johnson with Silver Nails, where I got smashed off. Then Josh Burns, where I managed to get a 10-10. And then I played Jack Austin's UD, managed to get a 9 points. So I was pretty happy with that. Apart from getting smashed off 20-0 on the first one, but I remember rolling over to David, our captain, and going, I don't care who I play today. I just don't want it to be another Silver Nail player. So that was my request. And first game came up good. I played Demon Legions. It's Chris Crawford, so again another one way out of my league, but really fun game and enjoyable. So this was Frontline Clash and Spoils of War. Um, so that was good. There was no official map for this one, but obviously with Demon Legions, it's your usual double big scary demon. But he also had a big unit of Myrmidons, Whitcrack Tail, so I believe it's lightning reflexes, and then he had a couple of imps with fire starter and spirit of affinity. So I'm going to have to be careful of that, especially as I start bigging up, because he's going to start threatening my tree fathers and start taking apart some of my units very slowly. He also had 3 units of clawed fiends. These things are rapid, like rapid. Luckily, they're not light troops, but 918. I mean, they're just in your face. So and then 5 sirens, which is always quite good. So they're going to be threatening my flanks and just adding up to the claw things. But honestly, the big scary things in his list are the scourge and the courtesan. One's really quick and is also master divination. So against my tree fathers, I'm going to be careful of that. And it also mitigates my benefits as a for my blade dance, especially certain Dask. It has got Iron Husk on it, so they're res 6, so I'm going to have to rely on my Sentinels probably to get through that. But the Scourge itself, I've got nothing that can take it on, so my plan was just to avoid it until I can shoot it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just dangerous. I mean, Chris actually ran a double Scourge Legions of Sin weekend this week at Cardiff, and yeah, it's pretty dodgy actually. It looks pretty dangerous. So yeah, there we go. In terms of my list, just a quick reminder to myself, if more than anything else. So this was the one where I took 2 Druid Adepts, and that was pretty much my magic with a couple of with the Heirloom and Lightning Van Braces. The idea was just going cheap on characters, and then um, 2 units of Heath Hunters with Banner of Discipline, just so I can use that as sort of mobile shooting, followed by a couple of small units of scoring, and then my big unit of Forest Rangers Flaming Standard. 2 Tree Fathers have been working quite well, running around doing their own thing and just being generally quite tough. The Stalwarts, because they're some of my favourite models, and my Blade Dancers, and then 19 Sentinels, one with Scouts. So I think those 2 units, if they perform this game, I could do quite well. If they don't perform, it's going to be an uphill struggle trying to tie 2 Greater Demons down. So that was pretty much it. Um, in terms of magic, where's that going? In terms of magic, I'm quite happy at the moment. So uh, it's my Druid Adept was pretty similar. So Perception, Strength, and Ice and Fire, just in case I have one of those big nasty things come into me. I've also got Forest Embrace and Hand of Heaven as usual. I didn't think Hand of Heaven was going to be that useful, but Forest Embrace was pretty key for my War Dancers. Blade Dancers? Yeah, Blade Dancers. And on my Druid attempt, I took Healing Waters and Summer's Growth just as pretty standard, just to keep my stuff alive as he's throwing all his stuff at me. In terms of Courtesan Mastery, took Stars Align, Unerring Strike, Fate's Judgment, and Spirit of Infinity. So you can see here, he's starting to build up the Spirit of Infinity. I think it's a really good spell, especially against people like me. And I've got some blocks that can just go along. And if I get caught out with the Courtesan, and that's the final Spear of Infinity, it just takes out 1 rank of my unit. So if that goes into, let's say, my Blade Dancers and just takes off a rank, it's not going to be great. And that thing's going to be running around, so I'm going to have to be quite mindful of that. In terms of the Scourge, it was probably pretty accepting Spectral Blades and Ancestral Aid, so I wasn't surprised by that at all. But it didn't really change the plan. Ooh. So as you can see with the map, so we had the impassable over here. We've got some trees in the centre, another impassable here, and then a wall here and a hill. I believe I got to. I'm sorry, we're playing Spoils War, so those are the 3 pennies there. I got to choose sides, so I chose this side just because there's a bit of a this here, and I didn't want that crowding my side if I was running around between the Scourge. He then got to, and I placed my forest here. My logic was it's in between 2 of these, and I wanted to see if I could move that over to there quickly enough, just so I can start threatening this area and start controlling it. And then my plan was to see if I could use the wall or anything like that. So straight off, he decided to drop for first, and so you can see he's got some of his imps, he's got his myrmidons, and they're obviously looking to get this thing. You've got a courtesan here just to dominate the centre and push me back. You've got the 1 unit Clawed Fiends, another unit of imps on the hill just to mark this. You've got his 2nd unit Clawed Fiends, his courtesan, and then his imp. No, his sirens. You'll notice there's a gap here because he didn't actually deploy his 3rd unit of Clawed Fiends. We completely forgot. He left a space for them, so we just put them on afterwards. It was very, I remember this now. It was one of those moments of I did mean to put it on. I went, yeah, don't worry. I can see that's the front. There's a gap there where it's meant to be on there, so don't worry. I'm not bothered. So he put them down there. So there's actually a Clawed Fiends unit there, and they're going for that objective there. Well, these 2 are going to dominate the centre, and hopefully his Scourge and Courtesan can push me back. In terms of my army, I've got my 1 unit of Heath Hunters on the right. Ooh, was this the one where you had to set up to the right? No, that was the last one. Okay, so I've got 2 units for Heath Hunters here. I've managed to, my plan was I can move over to this side, and I was just going to try and shoot this off. Against that big unit of Myrmidons, I just wasn't really up for it. I was like, no, I'm not going to take them on. That's not necessarily a good thing. And maybe I can threaten them and just ambush them on. I've then got the Forest Rangers in the centre, so I can take on these Clawed Fiends or a Courtesan and just zone and keep them back. That was my thought. I've got 1 unit of Sentinels behind, and that's just my bunker, so I've got maximum reach with my. Oh, sorry, cancel. They are the Clawed Fiends that he completely forgot about. Why did he send them back there? I don't know, because they're the Sirens there. Either way, can't remember now. But he did forget them, and we had to put them down later. Either way, doesn't matter. Or maybe he forgot. No, he forgot to move them first time, and then we moved them up because it was like, yeah, you're going to move them up towards the objective. There's no point. There's no problem. I've then got the Blade Dancers here so that my BSB can be in there, but also with if he gets there, I'm not that far away. So what my plan was to basically threaten, get up early and threaten the centre here and try and hold this objective for one of my scoring units. Then got my other unit of Sentinels that are going to be playing around here. Their aim was just to sort of take on a Scourge and start plinking away. And I've got 2 Tree Fathers over this side. And they were going to go and destroy this and just stop them getting the objective. And then I've got my Heath Riders over this way. So I was either going to go for that one or that one, depending on what it prunes. And then I've got my Dryads here that could go for this one if I can get them round there. To be honest, at this point, I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't unconfident. I mean, I was facing 2 Greater Demons, but I'm quite mobile. As long as I don't mess up with my Forest Rangers, do I do against you, Scarlin? I'm okay. I've got tons of shooting. I outrange him. So at some point, he's going to have to come close, and then I'm going to unleash hell. Demon Legion's turn 1. So you can see he's moved up his Courtesan out of arc in the forest here, and then he's moved the imps and the up because he's out of range and he just wants to get them up here. He's moved the Sirens across, basically it's chaff later, but not going to do anything here. He's moved the Clawed Fiends up onto the objective, followed by another one, and then the imps behind, because obviously they're not going to be in range there. I'm not going to come near him, and he's going to have to come forward into my danger area. The Clawed Fiends he moved up later, and then the Scourge has come round to threaten them there. I think if he'd moved it more centrally, it would have been dangerous, because then it zones here. But because he's moved it there, he's got all this big open space, and now I'm actually quite content with going forward, and even just like if I can get in range of that forest, which I think I could, maybe I couldn't. It doesn't matter. But either way, I can walk forward, and I'm pretty confident with that. As long as I get certain spells off, I reckon Blade Dancers were going to tear the Claw Fiends apart because they're only res 4, and I'm going to hit first probably, I think. or at least at the same time. So 3+ Aegis, kill a few, and then wipe them out. In terms of magic, he didn't really do much. Took off a few. Well, he took off a few of them, and that was with Fate's Judgment. And that was it. And then my turn one. So I went into action, and this is the other reason why the Scourge was not in a great position. So I charged them, and he went flee, and I went, you can't do that because they've got had the item there. So I made the 10. It was like a 10 or something like that. So it was long range, but I didn't have any. There wasn't any risk if I didn't get it. Yeah, I'd have lost that, but that's okay. So I charged them in. Because his Scourge was there, this hill was blocking all his line of sight. So I just moved my Sentinels back into this area, and just so they could plink this off. So the aim was I was just going to start hitting off the Courtesan. I was just hunting for sixes and poison and go straight through. I wasn't really too bothered about the imps at this point, so I just surrounded the Courtesan with my Heath Hunters and just with the aim of going on that. The plan with the magic was to buff them as much as possible. I'll move these guys up to a wall just so they could zone this area. And the idea was I was going to see if I could stop the Myrmidons from even getting on there, whilst the Dryads were stuck there. This Tree Father came up to support out of arc because I wanted, if they charged in, but let's say I didn't overrun, I wanted to, or I didn't, this didn't go so well. I was going to need to support with the Tree Father, and then the other one went up further left just to start threatening them, because Claude Fiend's going into a Tree Father doesn't matter. I win, and I can start shooting and plinking them off. In slow time, I can take them out. In terms of shooting, okay, so shooting, I did a few wounds to the Courtesan, but mainly this. I powered through the Claude Fiends. I got Healing Waters and Forest Embrace off. That was just to make sure I lost and counter charge, and I decided to overrun. I just decimated them only for a loss of 3. And they've got into the imp. So that's first blood to me and 2 units in the bank. And I was pretty happy with that. I think it shot Chris and it sort of put him at a disadvantage. So I was going to kill them in his turn and be able to turn around and go after his Clawed Fiends. Well, that was my thought anyway. So that's Chris looking now. I had him stumped for a second. Apologies, that is an awful photo. See the next one. No, the next one is better but closer in. So we'll go for this. So as you can see, he's retreated his Courtesan behind there just so he can't do anything with it. But what I didn't expect here is I didn't realize I've completely forgot about 18 inches of movement because his Clawed Fiends just ran down there all the way, completely out of arc of the Tree Father, and also far enough away that my Blade Dancers are not going to be able to charge him next turn, and all I've got is some Dryads, so that's not necessarily that good, and he's threatening my scouts, so I'm going to have to move them now, but I was going to move them anyway. He's then moved his Scourge around there to Tree Father to stop me charging while his Courtesan, while his Clawed Fiends get on the objective. But again, I was like, this is single models. That's why the other Tree Father is there. So I'm just going to play, right, which one do you want to face off? Because the other one's going into your Clawed Fiends, and I'll shoot them. So I really wasn't too bothered by that. In terms of magic, I think he's got a few Heath Hunters off there, so he shot them off with Spear of Infinity and stuff like that. But otherwise, I think his magic phase it's just continuing effectual because there's only a couple of spells I need. He's not in combat, so I'm pretty happy. Yeah, here it is, a close-up of that. He's got his Myrmidons onto objective. It's quite far from there to the wall, and I probably should have moved my Forest Rangers further up so I could threaten that. Yeah, so that's a mistake on my behalf because if I'd been closer, me on the charge, I reckon with a couple of magic buffs in it, my advantage. Yeah, this could be my game. Yeah, sorry, this was a couple more. So this was his shooting, so he's taken off the back rank of that Heath Hunter unit on using the imps. I obviously kill his other imps and I turn around. I think in hindsight, I should have turned the other way. I should have looked at this, and so if you go here, back to here, this is a good way of showing it. So what I should have done is I should have threatened here, because at that point, if he charges me with sirens, yeah, okay, but I kill them, I lose a few, but that's okay. And then I kill these Myrmidons, and I think that was probably my big mistake of the game, actually thinking about it. So I should have done this. I'd have trapped them, because I reckon over time between my Centaurs, I could have killed off his Scourge, and I've just wiped everything out here, and I could have easily taken that objective. As it was, I got a little sidetracked by the other side and trying to unleash my Dryads here rather than concentrate on just killing this unit with squashing them in between my 2 combat units. So, naughty me. Right, Sylvanel's turn 2. as you can see, I've shot off a load of them. I think I've missed a bit here. Oh yeah, because I couldn't see the courtesan. I had no hope with the sentinels. I just lined the sentinels up around these guys, and what I did was I moved the dryads in, and the idea was I knew they were going to charge me, but I just wanted to bait them and trap these things with and bring my blade dancers up. It wasn't a good mood. I didn't need to waste the time on that, so it's something I could have done better. Actually, I think I got a spell off on them as well. So, but then the other things I did was, as you can see, my tree fathers there just continually shooting, and otherwise on the right, I just moved everything back on what I thought was everything out of range, but I hadn't. So as you can see, what I'd done is I'd wanted to move around to the left, and because I'd moved with my blade dance, I felt that okay, I've got to give up this objective. He's too powerful. So I moved everything from here, and I started trying to move them around with the Heath Riders. Plan was to go and take the center objective and draw it. What I did do though was I moved the Heath Hunters here. And as you can see, their courtesan has charged in because he was there. I just wasn't aware of it, and it's so quick. So yeah, I thought I could flee, but it was a swift stride. It really wasn't far as well. It was only not like 9 on the dice or something stupid like that. It really wasn't far. I don't think I caused a wound even on standard shoot on the way in. So yeah, that's them completely gone. Luckily, these aren't behind there, sat there. So at least I've managed by fluke. I've not managed to give him a juicy overrun into my last run. Otherwise, yep, he kills and he charges in here as well. Uh, Luckily, this is the end of the turn, so he does pretty much nothing, and I do a wound to him. So we stick pretty much. He was pretty lucky. That's a really, really poor view, but what you can see is this is my turn. So what's happened is I've keep plinking away at this. I've managed to charge that in on, or take a charge. No, I charged in on my turn 2, and I'm just slowly eating away through those clawed fiends on the left. So they're not going to last much longer. In terms of the center, I've charged my blade dancers in here. I've now finished the clawed fiends off there. So you can see I'm controlling the center. I've got my last unit of Heath Hunters because his courtesans are off the board. And what I'm doing is I'm just sort of facing off here and deciding what I'm going to shoot at. So turn 3, I've lined up. I think, what did I shoot at? I can't remember what I shot at, but I just moved around just so I could get these two back. So these guys are going to run onto the objective next turn, and also I think it was so I could line up and make sure I could shoot the courtesan when he came back on. I think I did maybe 1 or 2 wounds to the Scourge during this phase, but I didn't do much. I think you can see what I've done here. I'm starting to stack up in the center, which is not really where I want to be. I want to be pushing him into the center and controlling the flanks, but it just wasn't to be. Yeah, as you can see here, he's realised the threat and he started throwing magic and shots at the Heath Riders on his turn. Apologies not for the wide-angle shots. It was a it was a it was a fast-paced game. It was lots of thinking. So when we were actually doing stuff, it was quite fast-paced. So we're having to think about it at this moment. I think it's a fast-paced one. Here you can see his courtesan is there. That is the turn I shot him completely off. So that is a courtesan died. He had 10 shots in there, but the Sentinels just went absolutely mental and rolled about 6 6s and just wiped him out completely. So at this point, he called his captain over and asked about what he could do because it was looking pretty bad at the moment. He had an objective, but he was sort of, you can see my Heath Riders there at the moment. Oh, sorry. So this is what he did turn 4. So I pushed my dryads towards there, and I had my Heath Riders on the objective. So I was trying to give him a choice. So that was my theory, and that was where I should have been. In my turn 4, yeah, you can see no more courtesan. Sorry, so I shot him in this turn between everything, and I've moved my Heath Riders. Have moved on to the objective this turn. He's going to, and you can see his imps are moving round, but effectively on the left, I'm set up ready for this here. So I'm trying to give his Scourge this choice, so I can take the objective here and draw. And I was expecting him to take this. I didn't think I was in range there at this moment, I hadn't measured properly, but I actually am. So that was a. This is probably one of the best things you can see at the end of the bad move. So I've left a terror check on there. My BSB is over here because I've moved them out of the range. What I don't want to do is get my blade dancer stuck with a scourge fighting them, because at this, with 2 turns, he's probably going to wipe me out. But actually, when you think about it, that if I'd got that way and got onto the objective, got onto the forest, he's not moving me there, and that protects this unit at least from any shooting. But otherwise, I think these units' movement was okay. I'd concentrate on the Scourge, and that was a massive point in my direction. So it was at this point he called his captain over and basically said, look, I can push here now on my turn, or I can play it safe and probably get maybe a 15-5 or a 13-7. Probably a 13-7 because of that, because I was so up on points and it was just it. As captain said, go for break. And he did. I'd also asked David at this point, going, look, I reckon I can get a 13-7 here. Do you want me to go for more? And he went, yes, absolutely, take a risk, because it was both in a bit of a balance. And that is also why I moved the Heath Riders in the centre over the objective. Right. Then we get to this picture. Right. I think it's worth going through what happened before. Right. So what happens with this picture? The Scourge, because after this, declares a charge on the Heath Riders. I was like, oh, didn't expect that. Is he in range? Yes, he is in range. Okay. Okay, terror check, fine. No BSB. They fail. So they start running that way. I then declare panic check for these guys with both my general and another wizard in, who fail. I was like, oh. Oh. At this point, I started rolling for their panic, so understand where they went, then rolled for their panic and find out where they went. So I've got them both about here. And then these guys failed, also their panic. So I've got 3 units here now who need to rally on my turn. Otherwise, they're in trouble. Also, this is charge phase. So Chris does something really intelligent, which I just didn't see. He prophesies what would happen. Well, he just realised. And he realised I was so far away. I was too far away, the Forest Rangers. I should have pushed, because actually that was really bad of me. They are worth so little points compared to these. And I should have given them options and threatened, because all he's done to his Myrmidons is point that way. And for all those geniuses out there, you can see what is about to happen. But effectively this. But we get to my turn. Well, yeah, that's what's happened. That's the end result. So I'm close to the board with all 3 units at leadership 8, potentially about to run off. And because they're conga line, yeah, not good. So even if I pass with the back one first and then go for the front one, they could cause them to panic again and run off. So it's just a world of hurt. So in my turn, sorry. So we've jumped my turn here. We didn't have a picture for it. So what happened also was then his Scourge redirected, because he'd done the damage, and went into the Dryads. Dryads ran, killed them off. So I panicked at this point and thought, oh no, I need some points here. And I charged the Scourge with my Blade Dancers. And that was also a mistake, because I should have just looked at this and gone, right, no, that's bad. And I thought, because he was a flyer, I could beat him on combat res or something like that, but it just wasn't a good move. Maybe I could get and then pin him and then get my tree fathers in, but I just was like, no. In hindsight, that was an awful, awful idea on my turn 5. So I should have just left it and cut my losses and realised that this was going to be this wasn't going to be as good as I expected. Okay, as you can see here on my turn, I did rally them. My unit with the wizards got to there, and the other unit ran off. So they were rallied, and they're still fleeing, but near the board edge. So what he does is he charges them, they run off, redirects, and charges them. So I promptly flee, so we can only get half points there, because it's my turn next, and maybe I could rally them. So at least there's that. But otherwise, we counted up. It's a massive amount of points he just won there, and it's pretty much turned the game. I can't get the objective now because he's killed my Dryads. He's got the objective for definite, and I've lost. I think it was in excess of over 1,000 points just there. Yeah, this is that combat that I did really stupid, and those are the wounds you can see on my BSB and my one of my tree fathers. So in combat, I actually run on his turn. One of my tree fathers runs, but because he's locked in combat with the with the blade dancers who stick, he managed to save. So I think, yeah, so that was a mistake on my behalf. You can see the tree father on the left there, just poking out. So then I charge my tree father in. So I've got another bit of combat res, but he's just doing so much damage to me. And I can't remember which dances I did and what way round, but I messed it up completely. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So that's at the end. So what happens is they rally, so I don't give up those points, I don't think. I've got the Forest Rangers. They're dead. They're alive, but all of them are dead as well. He's ended up with the Myrmidons with the objective. He's got the Sirens, and he's got the Imps. No, I think I killed the Imps actually. So I think I did kill them on the final turn. Because I pushed and went after them. I was like, oh, I haven't got anything else to do, so I think I went after them. Over here, I was in a challenge. I got it the way around. I thought I could use my potion of strength. I forgot that he has Aegis, 4+ on that, and he saved it, and then he swacked my BSB, so BSB gone. But at least the tree father rallied, so I think he got half points for that. So is Chris looking pretty happy? This is Ollie Mather. Yeah, Ollie Mather was his captain. Was like, well done. And there's David look at me after 2 beers, like, what do you do, James? Just why? He's like, you were so happy at the beginning. I went, yeah, I know. I pushed, and I pushed badly. So it turns out I'm not good at pushing. Innuendo all over the shops there. But yeah, I think I still think my biggest mistake was when I pushed the Blade Dancers away from the Myrmidons. That was a really obvious thing that I could have treated. I could have gone after them, and it would have been a big point, and I think it would have wrapped up the game. I don't think I did it because I still had the courtesan there at the time, but actually he can't, and I'd have had he can't not engage me in the front. I think Blade Dancers versus Myrmidons, even at that stage with magical support, can hold out. So I think again that was not very clever from me. Other than that, I yes failed terror checks, so yes, stuff that happens. I think it's part of the list design. It likes to play quite wide, and it's something I'm not really a big fan of characters in Sentinel units just because they're in leadership 8. I want something a bit more certain. So, yeah, that's the way it goes. But otherwise, a really fun game, very swingy. It was a really good laugh. I think both of us were having a whale of a time. And this is it. I think I did kill stuff. So in the end, I think it was. Maybe. No, he didn't get half points for Tree Father. Managed to get. He was only two wounds on it. Yeah, it was only 2 wounds on it. So, yeah, but you can see he's got my big units. Like, oh no, he must have got the half Tree Father because that doesn't add up. I did wonder why there was something. I've missed a few things out on mine because he also got uh, the Dryads. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it was a really, really bloody game. But really, really good fun. And it ended up 13-7 to the Demon Legions. So that was the way it went. Yeah, really, really happy with that game actually, because Demon Legions sometimes I struggle with. So yeah, I was quite happy. We've realised our mistakes, so yeah, we'll go from there. This in the painting the hobby corner. So this is Ben Dunford's list of Warriors of Dark Gods, which looks very orky. Did I get any close-ups? No. But like he put it out on Armies of Parade and he won Best Painted. So Spiky Club came home with that. It's a fantastically painted army. Ben's really, really good. I mean, I think all of our armies looked quite good this weekend. So if you ever get a chance to play him, have a good look at it. It's really fantastic. He changed it up slightly for Cardiff this weekend. I'll see if I get a picture of some of his models there. His giant as well is just fantastic. Some of the work on the weapons there on the left are just superb. Yeah, so that's the way it goes. Apologies for not very many pictures in this game. I think we were quite rushing on Sunday, and I started to forget a few of them. And if I'm a little rusty, we'll go from there. I will try and get better for the next couple of games. But this, I believe we lost this round overall. It wasn't by much though. It was only like 42-38. But it was it was still a very good fun round. I think I certainly had fun. And then we're on to, I think we played we didn't play Team Ireland. No, we played, no, we were way down. Team Ireland were way up compared to us. No, it was I'll have to remember, but we played the next one, and I played a Highborn Elf list, so that'll be really good fun about that. But otherwise, I'm hoping to get these out more often. I promise. And look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much for listening. This is AAA Wargaming.